buzzing in and joining in on this intake interview. See, so next comes in after a long time of speaking for me, but I don't know how long it was. But next comes in this commander man with the many many medals on his jacket, and he stands and looks at me. And he asks everyone else in the room to leave, and they just do so without question. Um, Looks at me for a long time, and I look right back at him. And he then began to ask me questions that were the questions I expected to finally be asked. Are you authorized to be here? Who is your host country? What is your, parliamentary contacts, they call them sometimes. Um, uh, what would you say, a chaperone or a handler? They have all these terms for them. And I explained very clearly who I was and what I was, because it was understood to me that this man would understand what I'm talking about. He did not blink. He did not act surprised as I told him where I was from, what I was doing, and the circumstances through which I was brought to his custody there in Cuba. He says, we don't know what to do with you. But he made the comment something similar of, but many who are brought here we don't know what to do with. We cannot release you at this time. And that's where I kind of cut in, because I understood what he was saying. He was going to put me in one of these dog cages that they have all these other men in and leave me there to rot. And I knew I had to take action now, because otherwise this was my chance. I would be dealing with low-level soldiers who, bless their hearts, just would not be able to assist me. So I told him something that I cannot speak now. It's something that I respect the privacy of. A phrase that is commonly used in the upper echelons of the NATO powers to identify something of great importance. He said, if that's the case, then wait here a minute. And he leaves the room. I am there alone. Of course, I know I'm being watched on the movie screens over there, but he comes back a few minutes later and he says, come with me. And I come into his office, and he asks if I would like anything to eat or drink. And we began talking, and he knew things that I did not know. There's very much openness now within the ranks of the upper ranks of militaries around the world of what's happening. You've got a planet here, your planet Earth, Delta Sol, filled with you humans, your Jakku, ready to explode. In some cases, quite literally. You have developed a system by which the countries who have the bomb feel safe. The countries who do not feel threatened. If push comes to shove and the war comes down to the ultimate fight, which wars always do, who's going to win? The side with the nuclear weapon that can annihilate entire cities, or the side without? So there becomes this rush. Now, this man understood that was part of what I could assist the United States with. Apparently, I had been put on, excuse me please, I must lean down. I am in a vocal recording booth here at the Apathy Records, and I must say, it is very weird to be surrounded by all these strange pieces of gushy foam, but they make me keep my drink on the floor, because if I spill, all this stuff is so expensive. I'm looking at the window now. Yes, boys, you're very, very fancy. Oh, the ladies must love to look at your gear, huh? For those of you who are curious, I am still drinking the Kool-Aid. This one is grape. always drink Kool-Aid. I love it. Now, the world right now, 2012, okay, let's stop and talk about that too. December 21st, 2012 comes and goes for the Jaku, and some say, well, we dodged a bullet. Some say there was nothing to begin with. Some say I didn't even care one way or another. All the different answers. What's happening now is you're seeing many objects coming by your planet. There are many more that are being deflected. A very small change of trajectory out beyond where you might even be able to see them can avert disaster. Some are just troublesome and they are trying to steer towards the sun, where of course they just go zoop and they are in the sun. But Seoul is a very hot place, as you well know. The Arcturians base on the other side of your moon, the far side away, which the moon is used as a base by many, including the militaries here. You know, the UN Security Council that you have here oversees much more. Some are thinking of them as an impotent, powerless, wasteful organization, but they oversee more, than is publicly shown. That's why Tiffany there, who's of course not her real name, being an intricate member of the Vault team, was so helpful to us from the beginning. And the coincidence of Jean, who has the ability to record my voice and assist me in getting it out, Tiffany, who works in New York at the United Nations in a high enough level post that she can really assist us, and we do nothing nefarious, nothing bad. And then Kofi, who has since joined the revolution in Cairo. He was from Egypt, or he is from Egypt. He is there. The country is in great disarray. I spoke of this self-immolation event years ago that triggered all of this. I've told you over and over to be watching Syria. I hope those of you who have been following what I have said have remembered these things, because this is the most important information I can share with you. I can't predict the future, but I can tell you where to watch for the spark, for the fires to begin. And my friends, they will begin. North Korea is a huge problem right now for China. China cannot have the United States with a base of operations similar to South Korea right there on the peninsula beneath it. North Korea serves as a buffer zone for the United States and the Chinese to not have military face-to-face. Also, if they were to collapse, the North Koreans would flood into China, and that would create a non-communist peninsula where, right against their door. And it's something to be said of dealing with millions of refugees. You're seeing it right now in Turkey and Jordan. It's very difficult during diaspora, the process of people fleeing their homelands, to find them adequate accommodations, even in places where they are, you might say, welcome. It becomes very difficult. And many do not understand just how tenuous a situation is in this country like North Korea. When I have been there, I spend time in the mountains. I avoid Pyongyang. The city is it's very uncomfortable, let's say. But the mountain areas, there are people in North Korea, which is what some people who speak ill of them or who talk about kicking their butts here. And, in Utah, here where I am right now, this is a very Republican. They are here, they want their guns, they want to fight, they want all this. It's very strange to hear, but they speak of it so openly, But I go on. These conflicts are going to destroy the unity where the world almost got. Because eventually people are, when I say people, I say governments, they're going to have to pick sides. The Russians, they say we do not want to interfere, but that goes both ways because the Russians do supply arms to Syria. They say, well, we were supplying arms to Syria before. Well, yes, but you're feeding Assad military hardware. And then you've got the other side kind of vicariously or tacitly feeding this resistance military hardware. And all that's happening is civilians are being killed. There's no progress, there's no moving forward, just more and more civilians move away and or die. And what you're left with is, Bashar al-Assad is going to be left ruling a country of nothing, I think, in the end. Iran, to say Iran can't have a nuclear weapon is nigh on impossible. You understand, just like North Korea, there are many ways to drill down into the earth and build these facilities that are very difficult for detection from the West. The West does this, the East does this, now everyone does it. The military spending just of the United States, I challenge you to try to come up with a list of world problems that need money now that could not be addressed by that budget of those dollars. For fighting whom? Well, the other countries say, well, they must be getting ready to fight someone. Look at all this money. So they race too. And in this building of this massive amount of military infrastructure, what is happening? You've got people on edge. You've got people who have been trained to fight a war. I don't want to say they wish for it, but that's what they've trained for all their lives. This is a dangerous world we live in now. Now, on December 21st, 2012, whether you like it or not, your world changed. Each and every one of you changed. Those of you who are conscious will be aware and understand of what I speak, that you feel more of the power. You feel more of the energy flowing from everything around you. And it is because of where the earth, this system, is in alignment with the galaxy in which we all live. This is a good time of rebirth, of self-examination for the Jakku. This is a time where the history of the human race will go one way or it will go the other. One, they will engage in war. They will engage in the mentality that was prominent when the Crusades were happening. We are going to take our ideals, our form of law and morality, our code of conducts, and we are going to spread those around the world. This also happened during the colonial era. This happened, when I hear the term regime change, this regime word always being thrown around. Because they don't want to, you say regime interchangeable with government because you don't want to say the government must be taken down. You want to say this regime because it makes it sound like something you can put a face to. They forget about the people's lives who are affected. This morning I asked if I could watch the Russian news because I wanted to find out about Cyprus. The banks going there and saying, okay, we're going to take your money to guarantee our government because we've messed up. The European Union was formed not to form the people together, to form the banks together. The European Union has nothing to do with a united Europe of people. It's a united Europe of their financial institutions. This makes it easier for the bankers. Make no